Welcome to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast, providing business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs with the 3 Ins: insights, inspirations, and intentional actions. Delivered through monologues and dialogues, we address topics like leadership, productivity, time management, work-life balance, and challenges like stress, conflict, mental health, and much more. Please do not hold back from suggesting specific topics and guests you would like on this podcast. Greetings and welcome to this episode. Welcome back if you've been here before. Living your purpose purposely is the focus of this episode, and it's a part in that so-called mini-series around the book Time Management, A Complete Waste of Time. And as I have said, each episode stand on their own, so you don't have to have watched any other episodes in order to get value of those. That has kind of been the theme so far. But there's always exceptions to the rules, aren't there? And this is the exception. This episode is not likely to bring you much value on its own, because it's the second part of the last episode with just me, episode 16, where we started looking at the triangles and your life purpose. And I showed you the triangle, and I will show it to you again in a moment. So if you have not done that episode and you do not have some sense, at least some sense, maybe a great sense of what your life purpose is, what your mission statement is, woven those two together as one statement, and are ready for the next step, then I do suggest you go back to episode 16 and meet the triangle and go through that and work with that. Again, you can download the free action guide that has all of that stuff in it. So let's carry on with this one. And it looked like last time it worked with the screen share. There were a few hiccups. I'll see if I can improve on that today. Here we are. I hope you remember this. We're looking at your life triangle. I won't talk about the triangles themselves because that's just a waste of time. All of that is in episode 16. Your life purpose, your life mission statement, putting those two together. Again, don't worry if you don't feel it's perfect. Some people just go, wow, this is it. That is so clear. They're so excited. Others are like, yeah, this is okay for now. Either way is fine. If it doesn't feel like this is absolutely it for now, then just keep working with it, keep adjusting it. We can still, as long as you have the sort of the basics, we can still move on to the next part of the triangle. And that is this area here. As you may be able to see on the screen, if you're watching, it is called areas of importance. And coming to this one, you hopefully know by now from the action guide and from the book, Life Mastery Framework, those five stages to creating an outstanding life. The first part of the triangle is this section here in green. That's now done. We can take that off to whatever degree. And we're going to step into the second one, which is this one. And that's the main focus for today. And this part here I will talk briefly about and let you know how you can step into that and work with that. So the importance comes into this one here, which is your areas of importance. My word for that, or language for that, is your vehicles. So you have your life purpose. You know why you're here. You have your mission statement stating how you're going to live that purpose. The next step is to define as clearly as you can what are the vehicles that you are going to use to live that purpose, to fulfill that purpose, to live that mission statement and create the life that you desire to create. So the areas of importance are the main chunks in your life that are taking up the majority of your either time or energy or focus. So we can go through a list of what kind of, and I'll share, give you a few examples of areas of importance. And for most people, you can very quickly come up with 10 plus important areas in your life. I'm going to say up front, you want to reduce it. You want to get to 7 or less. And over time, even reducing that. So if you have like doing a lot of different things in your life, but some of them can be blocked together under one umbrella, then that umbrella becomes your area of importance. So some examples of areas of importance are if you're here as a businessman or business person, businesswoman, you will have work. Or if you're a business owner, you will have business. So that will be definitely one. For most people, they will also have one called marriage or relationship, family. Most people will have family beyond like your own family, your partner and your own children, but brothers and sisters, your parents, and so on, extended family. If you have your own children, you will have one called parenting. And other options then could be investment. It could be, a separate area of importance of finance. Other ones are things like health. You might have one for physical health. You might have one for personal growth or spiritual growth. You might have one for spirituality, like as in church, for example. Other than that, it could be community, like volunteering, sports, of course, hobbies. Some people are traveling. If you have one sport that is like your hobby and something you're really passionate about, and you're spending a lot of time doing it, say fishing or gardening, and it's a big part of your life, it takes a lot of time and energy. You probably want a triangle for that. But if you have a lot of different interests and hobbies and that, you can put all that in under one area of importance that you can call hobbies. And there could be a number of other things. I will leave that for you to explore for yourself. So my invitation for you is to, again, just take a bit of time out with pen and paper. Don't do this in your head. Pen and paper or any form of note taking. You can type it in too, that's okay. But just brainstorm. And you will come up with a list longer than 7, most likely. But that's perfect for a start. It just gives you a chance just to think over and making sure that you don't leave something out that's important to you. You can then also ask the question after you've done that and say, I've got all these things on a list. Is there something that is not on the list that should be on a list? Is there an area of importance that is not there but should be there? Whether it could be something like self-care, looking after yourself, health, things that just sort of been sitting there but not really been focusing, something that you feel, well, if I really focus on that and make that an area of importance, that will be a really good idea. Add that into that list. Once you have that, then get it down to 7 or less. Block things together. So again, if you've got your own family and you got children and you're working, you're gonna have work business, you're gonna have your relationship, and you're gonna have your parenting. You can't put any of that together. And then whatever else you come up with. Like once you got that, then you come back to your triangle, either the one in the action guide or you just draw one on a piece of paper like this. And what you want to do is then put them in like this. You put them in here. So I'm just going to make a few here. In this case, we got, what does that look like? Like we got 5 areas of important here. And let's say one of them is business. This is now the completion of the top part of your life triangle. Now, I don't want to go into the next stage, and I'll explain in a moment why that is. But first, I just want to show you what happens here, that essentially your entire life, with everything you're doing, comes down to this point. And the reason it comes, another reason for the triangle being upside down is that that point is your now. And that now, you really can only be in one place doing one thing. You can't move your hand left and right at the same time. It's one or the other. You can't be in two different places at the same time. Yes, you can multitask, move one hand up and one hand down, or do something with this one while this one is doing something else. That is as far as it goes. And all of that is done in each now, each moment by moment. And because that's the way life is, that's how we show up in life. That's why this triangle coming into this point. So eventually, you will have to take all these different areas of importance in your life and coming into that point. And you can't be both home and be a parent at the same time that you're doing business. You might think have the kids playing over there and you're here on the computer doing business. Well, in that moment when you're doing business, you're not being a parent. Or if you're there doing something with the children, you're not doing business. It's one or the other. And if you really try to do both at the same time, you're really going to create a lot of tension, a lot of stress, and you're going to be doing both of those half-heartedly, and therefore more likely to make mistakes and end up in trouble later. So this is the preparation coming into this point. So I want to draw here for you what happens next is that inside your life here, for example, this business one now becomes a new triangle. And that triangle will have a purpose. And within that triangle, oops, there will be a mission statement. And so will be for all the other ones. And essentially, you now go back with each of these areas of importance when you have them and look at what is the specific purpose of each of those. What is the purpose of being in a relationship? What's the purpose of being a parent? What's the purpose of wanting to be healthy, if that's an important area in your life? What is the purpose of running a business if you're doing that? What's the purpose of working? Allowing yourself to go just beyond the obvious. I'm a business to make money. Yeah, but nah. There needs to be more to it in order for it to be fulfilling. And we're not after a life here where we do what we have to do and feel miserable in the process. We're after a fulfilling life. In order for life to be fulfilling, whatever we do within it have to be done in a fulfilling way. Every aspect of it. So every area of importance in your life have to be fulfilling in and of itself. And the clearer you are on the purpose of each of those areas, the more likely you are to create that fulfillment because you can then create the mission statement and how you're going to show up in your, say, marriage or as a parent or at work or as a leader. And with that clarity, be more likely to live the life that you truly want to live and therefore have that fulfillment that you truly want to have. So with that, all of these here becomes triangles on their own, but they are all pointing to that same point. And then within each of those, some of them might have some sub areas of importance. So if you're running a business, there will be areas like admin, HR, there will be sales and marketing and suppliers, customers, and all of that stuff that comes with running a business. And then again, you can dive into each of those and go into as much detail as you want. Um, and that is then where we come into that next phase, which is the design. And I'm not going to get into details with that. I will stop the sharing here and come back. The reason that and I won't do it in a following episode unless you specifically ask me what it is that you would like from me to share about the that next stage. And the reason that I don't want to dive into it here is because it is so different from person to person. The top part in the life triangle and the triangles themselves that we've been through, episode 16, this episode, is the same for every client I've taken through this, because it is so centered on that big, like my life purpose, you know. So the process of getting there and that journey is more or less the same for everyone. When we come to the design phase, it is not. And the reason it is not is because that is really, really dependent on you and who you are and your personality. It is extremely dependent on what I refer to, or is often referred to as your profile. So if you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, it is different how you go about it. So when I work with people in different parts of that, you know, classic square of profiles, each profile will be doing the design phase when they're working with me, in alignment with what their nature is, what their natural strengths and natural weaknesses are. So very detailed people, for example, we will go into great detail and spend a lot of time in detail in this design phase because that is feeding and nurturing people who love detail. For those people, more the people on the extroverted side and more up in the intuitive, and generally they hate detail. They are big picture people. So if I take them into detail in that design process, they are going to lose the plot, and it is of little value to them. So I do that differently with those people, and that's why putting this into an episode and try and cover all of that, I can't do that. My invitation to you, if you want to go into that, go and get my book, Time Management, A Complete Waste of Time. I definitely go into the process itself and all the forms and that, and they are also in the action guide. I'm saying it again. Go and download the free action guide. All of that is in there, and you can play with that on your own. Once you have your top of the triangle, the life purpose, your mission statement, and you are clear on the vehicles that are going to drive you to fulfill your purpose, then you can start driving. Then how you drive, that depends on who you are, how you operate, how you're functioning, whether you are a bit risk adverse, you will drive a little bit more carefully. On the other hand, if you're not, you'll be driving really, really fast and going around the corners fast, and not about right or wrong. It is about what suits you and what you're capable of doing. If you want any personal support with that, no, just get in touch, direct message me, comment, and I'm happy to hop on a call and just have a quick chat with you just to see where you're at, give you some pointers, no charge for that. And then if you want to carry on with doing more, then we will look at what that could look like. So with that, I'm going to cut this episode short because I really want you to go and work on your top part of your life triangle and get those vehicles sorted out and move and then go and drive your life in the direction that you want to drive it. And as you know, next week will be a guest episode. And if you are interested in coming on as a guest and you got some stories around mental fitness, get in touch. Go onto my website and fill in the guest application form if you like, or just get in touch and we can have a chat. If you know of other people you think who would like to come on and who could bring some value to our audience, please make the connection and let me know. With that, I'm gonna leave you to go and sort out your vehicle so that you can get out there in life and drive your life exactly where you want to take your life to fulfill your life purpose. Happy driving. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success. If you have stories of how mental fitness has benefited you that you are happy to share, go to my website, mikael.nz, click on podcast and fill in the guest application form. If you want direct support from me utilizing my 40 years of mental fitness learning and practice, email me at coach@mikael.nz or message me on LinkedIn. Any feedback, review, share, follow, like, or any other good stuff is of course appreciated. Thank you for listening to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast. I'm your host, Mikael Nielsen.